Welcome back. You are listening to another episode of the What's Next podcast. Luke and Phil here from nextAdvisory. Good to be tuning in with you as always, mate, and good to see you.
Likewise, mate. And, we're bringing our content not only audibly, but visually. And what a couple of good-looking lads people are now getting to see. Behind what's going in their ears, they can now look and go far out. And they'll be able to go on YouTube, comment. Where else is this going? Instagram, comment. Wherever you can comment, please. We appreciate the feedback. It's an evolving space. And stay tuned for plenty more quality content.
Yeah, keep the comments positive because I'm sure after you've just said that we're a couple of good-looking lads, but people will let us know if we're not. But we're going to toot our own trumpet today and talk a little bit about why people choose nextAdvisory and the types of work that we do. Because often we'll get on calls with business owners, and then when we start diving into what we do compared to other accounting practices, there is a little bit of a, oh, okay, I didn't realize that. Or there might be a misperception of the work that we do.
Yeah.
But we'll take you through some of the core things that we do week in, week out.
Well, I tell you what, number one, mate, would be we are absolute weapons on an abacus. We can spit out a set of accounts, I reckon, as good as, if not better than those big fours.
Oh, big call. They could be watching too.
Yeah. The old franchises, they might get a little bit jealous.
They might.
But I tell you what, we know how to prepare a sexy set of accounts and tax returns because after all, we didn't study our little hearts out at university and then go on to get that little certificate that says CA that we can then put behind our name that no one goes, what the hell does that mean? To not be able to produce a sexy set of accounts. So first and foremost, I suppose, we're accountants, chartered accountants even.
Yeah, I guess that's the bread and butter of the accounting industry, making sure that clients stay compliant and they understand what's going on in their financial information. Now, I guess that's what probably a lot of accountants would say that they do is that they help people understand the numbers. One of our core values when we set up nextAdvisory was translator. How can we translate business, accounting, and jargon and financial information into terminology that everyday Kiwi people can understand in their business so that they can run their business with more empowerment.
Yeah. And I think you're listening to this going, well, great. Like you can produce a set of accounts and we would expect that because you're accountants. And then I go a next step further and it's like, well, we've now got to the point, we've always been of this mindset of going, well, we only do it for particular types of businesses. And I have to say, Luke and I absolutely thrive on the small and medium-sized business economy that we believe is the backbone of this country. The mum and dad businesses that are out there actually doing stuff that contributes to the economy. And by contributing to the economy, we mean you're paying tax, and by paying tax, that creates challenges around, well, how do you pay yourself? Is it salaries or drawings? Are you on PAYE or are you on provisional tax? Are you hiring people? Are you looking at your first hire, your second hire? Are you then looking at an employee share scheme, giving that employee a motor vehicle? All of the challenges that come around having people. Are you a manufacturer of something? So then you're going to need some investment in plant and equipment. Or you're an e-commerce retailer and you're looking at taking on a new product or going into a new market. Just businesses that are doing things just absolutely floats our boat.
Yeah, and doing it well as well and aspirational about it, not just kind of like, oh yeah, she'll be right.
Yeah.
Like, we fix a couple of cars and stuff. Like they're actually going for it. And they're like, how do we squeeze this? How do we do more? How do we innovate? How do we increase productivity? How do we increase our income? How do we pay more tax? Yet they don't like paying more tax. Nobody does.
Yeah.
But we're trying to get them into that top tax bracket and go, you know what, let's become one of those 3% of taxpayers in the country that actually does get taxed at 39% on their income over and above 180K.
And look, mate, I think we've been going quite well, we might say, if we're modest about what it is, because we're doing this now 7.5 years, which is not bad going.
No.
I mean, some have said, hey, they're just fly-by-nighters.
Cowboys.
Cowboys even, yeah. I mean, the greatest cowboys that ever lived, some might say.
Business can be a bit of a fucking rodeo at times, but I wouldn't call myself a cowboy.
No, nor would I. I mean, I don't own a pair of R.M. Williams.
No, I don't.
Yeah, wouldn't know what it's like.
That's actually a good point. That is a big mark against our names. We haven't, like, I love a blue suit, but I haven't worn one for a while. Like, I'll mix a jacket with the chinos, but I still don't have a pair of RMs. I went and got a pair of Three Wise Men type boots the other day and someone was like, just suck it up and get the RMs. I can't bring myself to do it.
I'm of the similar mindset, but I think I'm going to buckle.
Yeah.
I think I am. And I'll probably get 2, black and a brown.
Oh, nice.
Just to cover the bases. Geez, we love to digress on this pod.
100%.
And we already have. It doesn't take long. But this is the other part about nextAdvisory. Why us? Bit of personality.
Yeah.
Luke and I like to shoot the shit with our clients. And I guess these businesses that are doing things and in our opinions contributing to the economy, they've got crunchy bits in their business that are exciting. There's genuine problems. And we like to get in there and actually understand what it is that makes that business tick, what makes that business owner tick, what makes them thrive. And I think once you understand all the pieces of the puzzle, we can bring it together and go, geez, okay, we can see why you're feeling this way or why this is an outcome of what's happening in your business. Let's unpack this, help you understand it at a little bit more detail. You go away and do these actions in your business and we bet you the house that it'll fix whatever problem is that you've got.
Yeah, someone once said to us that business is a life sentence, so you might as well enjoy it. And we're very big on, at both ourselves, but plus with our clients, trying to, like, we'll ask clients, like, are you enjoying this? Are you happy?
Yeah.
Oh, whoa, shit. Because, like, who asks questions like that? No one really asks questions like that anymore. Unless you go to a counselor or psychologist or something, maybe. But we want to make sure that our clients are actually enjoying it. And we sense check ourselves too, of being like, are we actually enjoying the work that we're doing?
Spot on.
And maybe we're not. So then we back out of it. And it's like, okay, we went down that route, maybe not too much of that. Or we might launch into something and I'm definitely guilty of it. And then you get into it and it's like, this isn't actually as enjoyable as I thought it was going to be. Cool. Like business and life's too short to keep going, well, just suck it up, just suck it up. No. Like exit it and don't do the things that you don't want to be doing because you've got to turn up and you've got to have energy. And people talk about time management, but we probably don't have enough conversations, as Aaron Walsh talks about, with energy management. And if you can't manage your energy because your business is sucking it all from you, well, then you're not going to enjoy it. So we're obviously, mindful of that for ourselves, but we're obviously, then testing our clients going, hey, are you actually enjoying this? Are you in good energy? Like, well, if not, then what do we need to change about the business? And those conversations aren't always financial. They're more about the person and the business that they actually want to build. So then they have to know that too.
And that's the exciting part and the piece about what we do that I think I enjoy the most, and I probably could quite comfortably say that you enjoy the most, is the conversations that are non-financial in nature, whereas like the financial part, understanding that will identify what the challenge is, but then there'll be something that's non-financial that we need to unpack that's actually creating the problem in the first place. And it's asking the questions that they've never been confronted with before by either an accountant or anyone else that they're getting their advice from. And then sitting there and some of the reactions that you get from clients when you're like, and sometimes it can look so obvious as well. I'm just like, oh yeah, I've never really thought about that before. And they go, oh, and it's just like this light bulb moment that they all of a sudden see, and then they go away and then think about it. And then more often than not, there might be a text message or an email or something the next day or a week later just going, hey, thanks, hadn't considered that before, but I really appreciated you guys like bringing that up.
Yeah, I guess to go back a bit because we've probably got carried away and excited as we can do because we love what we do. But we have an accounting arm and that is purely ensuring that people they've got accurate financial information. We are reviewing their tax position 3 times throughout the year to ensure that they understand their tax obligations going forward. We do a set of accounts. We're staying across their questions throughout the year, and they get a bit of advice based on questions that they may have if they bring those to us, and we're going out proactive with different information and whatnot too, but we're trying to teach our clients, if you're making a decision, involve us, let us know so that we can help you. And that's the base of sort of accounting and what most accountants would probably try and ace and do really well. A big part of our business too is then going a step further, which is separate to the accounting, and people need to pay for this, and we do it in different forms. But that's where business owners will engage us to give them business advice. Now, the accounting industry, and it's in our name, is advisory. But basically, advisory to us is what are the problems that you have? Can we help you solve them? And if we can, let's do it, and here's what it's going to look like. If not, here's who you need to go and speak to. Yes, and sometimes when we get into solving the problems too, then it's like, okay, you've got this issue. You need to go and speak to this person. Oh, that's an HR issue. You need to speak to that person. Oh, actually, that's a marketing issue. You need to go and speak to that person. Oh, that's a banking issue. Okay, what are we going to do about that? Okay, that's a cash flow issue. Yes, we can help with that. And so you start to diagnose what's going on. But you can only really do that when you start having good conversations with a business owner, because accountants, I think the misperception is that accountants can log into Xero and be like, oh, I can see everything going on in that business.
Crystal ball gazers.
Yeah, but you don't know until you speak to the business owner, because normally what's going on up here and with what they're doing with their hands and how they're thinking and how they're acting is then leading into the financial information. So that's the final step, is basically what's the P&L, the profit and loss showing us.
Yeah.
But we have to get under the hood and understand with the business owner, like, what is going on up here and why are we making these decisions? And that's a big body of work. And I think the industry has probably been a little bit slack in trying to articulate that to business owners, where business owners just assume that accountants are doing that as part of, you know, the everyday accounting, because all the time, and it's one of Phil's favorites, you know, is people say, oh, I want a proactive accountant. And then Phil will say, okay, what's a proactive accountant? Oh, well, one that, you know, they sort of, you know, they're just, they're helping us out a lot more. But how does the accountant know what to help you with if they don't know what you're struggling with?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you know, we do business advisory in a number of different ways, but two of the most common forms, if we were to 80-20 it, would be 90-day business planning, where people are working with us over a 90-day window. And
That's
it's basically
proved to be, before we get to the nuts and bolts, I can't believe, well, no, I can actually, just how popular that is, because it's so short and sharp, and just that instant gratification, and it's so much low-hanging fruit compared to 12-month option. But and we do 12, so we can take one person through it every month, and then you basically have an initial session, then you have one in 6 weeks, and then one at the end of the 90 days. And if they're not happy at the end of the 90 days, we keep working together, and that very, very seldom happens. So we do 12 of those in a year, and basically the point is to give the business owner some instant clarity of, like, here's what we need to do next. And it might not be 90 days and everything's fixed. It might be, okay, we need to go on a journey with this, but this is literally the roadmap that we're going to create together, and let's tear into it and let's do it at pace. And do not come back here in 6 weeks and not have done anything. Like, don't waste these other people that would happily take the spot. It's very much like a diagnose and like triage. Here's the immediate things that you need to go away, and like, you go and do this over 90 days and just do not focus on anything else as a distraction. And then if you do this and do it consistently, it will flow through and show up in your numbers. Yeah,
and a little bit of it as well is basically like, what we do is we say, if we were to run your business, here's what we would do.
Yeah.
And sometimes we're proven wrong, but seldom, and often it's just an objective view. Or even I had a business owner, they're doing their pre-work for their 6-week check-in, and they're like, to be honest, mate, it's actually just been good to pay the money to force me to do the things that I know that I need to do, but to sit down together and put them all down and then sense check them and go, okay, here's the order and priority we're going to do them in, has been great to basically get me to go, right, I'm back at the start of the sprint line, and I've actually, like, the gun's gone, I've got to run. I can't just stand here waiting for the race to start. So those are a lot of fun for us, because we see people get results really quickly. Now, the other part is more in-depth, and it's probably more structured and more strategic and more slow burn, but we're like moving a business. If we're not moving the Titanic, but we're kind of redirecting it to where it needs to go, and then we slowly start rowing in the right direction, and then 12 months, 24 months later, the thing's turned into a jet boat, and you're kind of building it as you go. So business owners will do pre-work, and sometimes they might have multi-director or multi-shareholders, and they'll do it individually. We'll review it all, and then we sit down for a half a day, 4 to 5 hours, and build out a business plan for the next 12 months. And then from there, we set actions for the next 90 days, and then we catch up quarterly after that. So quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and at the end of quarter 4, we review the entire 12 months. And the same thing, we have an expectation that if you're going to spend that money and you're going to take our time and you're going to use your time, the work needs to be done.
Yep.
And so we're reviewing at each quarter, okay, what was done? And then if it wasn't, why not? And sometimes it's like, okay, we've had time to think about this. We don't think we need to do that anymore.
Yeah.
But what it often does is it sort of forces a business owner to take action on the decisions that they know deep down they need to be doing. It might be hiring, it could be firing, it could be, you know, launching into a new product or service, or it could be culling one of those, or it could be, you know, going into another region. Whatever it is, we're unpacking it as part of that initial half day to be like, well, you sat here, you said this is where you want to get to, and we went into 1 year and 5 year goals. Now we needed to do the work to make sure that we can get there.
It's surprising going through those sessions just how many business owners actually know what it is they need to do. And I think one of the key outcomes that comes out of it is the business owner's got confidence that what they're thinking about is now backed up by science, data, and it's been soundboarded through us, and we both bring like pretty different perspectives when we come to these sessions with clients, and I think that's what they like. To then for the business owner to go, shit, okay, that idea or this thinking that I've got isn't actually dumb after all. It's backed up and it's okay. And if I approach it in a structured way and go away and do A, B, and C, and then go and keep going through and ultimately get to X, Y, Z, I'll achieve what it is I ultimately wanted to achieve with the business, which, a lot of people haven't even thought about, but we give them the space to be able to go, what is it that you want from this business? I think so many people haven't just sat down and contemplated it. So it's quite a detailed process to go through, really eye-opening, and it's getting a business owner to open up their mind and us to get a window into their thinking and their lives and ultimately what they want to achieve. And it's an exciting journey to go on.
Yeah, and we obviously then introduce these people to people in our networks that we know are going to help them, and basically even ideal clients and people that we go, okay, they're going to speed your journey up, they're going to make your boat go faster. Here you go. We'll do the intro, get you going, and there's trust there, and sometimes that's a lot of what they can get out of it through the process as well. And what I often enjoy is when they do the pre-work, we've bolted on that final question, asking them about what their limiting beliefs are.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we won't reveal what the question is because then people, if they ever go through the 90-day or the 12-month process with us, but it's basically the last thing. So it's like you've filled out all the information and now you still need to tell us, okay, what's going on in here that you keep telling yourself that could be holding you back? And sometimes that can be the unlock. Once we pack into that and it's like, okay, we're not qualified to do it, you might need to go and speak to a counsellor. Or it could just be, we're challenging, okay, what data do you have to suggest that that's accurate?
Yes.
Talk me through it. Well, no, you don't have any, and we can have a 15, 30-minute conversation on that. And then what we get to do in those next sessions is like, we're not allowed to talk about that anymore because it's not real. You could see in session 1 that wasn't real. So we can't use that as a barrier to what we want to achieve because it's not real.
Yep.
And I think that's been quite fun for us to dive into some of those conversations with clients as well. Like when we're studying to be CAs and at uni and whatnot, you don't really learn that you're going to have to deal with that shit.
No.
But unless you do, then you kind of go, you can look at everything that's going on in business, but if you can't unpack like what's going on for somebody, there's a massive chapter there that you're basically, just ignoring, going, okay, well, hopefully they sort that out over there on their own. But sometimes people need a bit of a helping hand to get closer to it.
And my mind's immediately jumped to that if people are listening to this and they're going, well, that's great that you guys do all of this, but how are you qualified to do it? And I think the one thing that Luke and I perceive about ourselves is, we're accountants, but we look at ourselves as business owners. So before we started nextAdvisory, we started skoolrebates.co.nz, and that was an idea that Luke came up with, chatting to a dude on an airplane at the abridged version, but ultimately came back and we built a website and we created an online platform for parents to be able to claim back the donation credit on their school donations that they made. And the lessons that we got out of that were absolutely priceless. We got spanked around by the market, something chronic.
Yeah.
And we, got some huge lessons, grew up really quickly, ultimately had some meetings with the IRD, and the business just ran its course. We don't look at it that the business was either successful or a failure. I think if we were to look at it, it was successful, even though financially you might look at it and go, it wasn't as financial as what we originally thought it was going to be. But the lessons that it gave us are priceless. And then that led us on to creating nextAdvisory. And I think what's different about nextAdvisory to potentially other accounting firms is we started in September 2017.
17?
17?
Yeah.
17?
Anyway. nextAdvisory? Yeah. You think in 2007, the GFC almost?
Yeah, almost. Yeah. Jeez, the old lid. 2017, and we started with no clients.
Yeah.
Absolutely none. And we had to go out there and sell ourselves to the world. And we learned really quickly from our stuff from skoolrebates.co.nz about what it takes to engage with a prospective customer and the sales process and how can we speed that up, and then all the things that can happen through sales to ultimately getting a conversion and then doing that repetitively to what we've got 7.5 years later.
Yeah, now we're in this stage where we say no to more work than we say yes to.
Yeah.
Or we're very deliberate about the type of work that we take on and what we market to.
People might hear that and they might think, oh, no, that's cocky and arrogant. It was just like, no, we've done a business plan. Like everything that we talk about, we do ourselves. Like we put into our business, and we're very clear about the types of clients that we want to work with. And if somebody comes to us and, for example, they're property-based, it's an immediate no. Like, we don't care if you're the biggest developer or a medium-sized developer and you really want to work with us. Like, property is not our jam. That's not us saying we don't like the property market, as much as you probably think we probably say that if you've listened to the podcast long enough. But it's an area of accounting and tax that we just don't understand and don't get fulfillment out of.
No.
Like, we're really clear about what our jam is and where we get fulfillment from the type of work that we do, and that comes from a particular type of client. So we meet with all of these people or business owners and go, no. Yes, there we go. We know that that's going to be something that we can help them. It's going to be fulfilling work for us. It's win-win.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's life-changing advice for aspirational business owners. It's not life-changing advice for property developers. It's not tax efficiency for the property sector. We get out of bed to help business owners get better at what they're doing, and in turn, we get better at it. And going back to what you're saying before, I think with the Skool rebates journey, I was going to say we made our money back on that tenfold in nextAdvisory by then leveraging some of the lessons and getting to do it faster than probably what we would have if we didn't do Skool rebates. Now, the other thing too is that when you do a lot of shit, you get the experience. Now, we saw someone basically recreate Skool rebates and they asked us about it and we're like, honestly, don't do it. Here's why not. Save yourself time, save yourself money, save yourself your life. Don't do it. No, we're going to do it. Okay, all the best, good luck, whatever we can do to help. But okay, anyway, they blitzed through probably over 7 figures worth of seed capital.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Yeah. Like not a small amount of money
tipped into
of
that.
some pretty high profile New Zealanders as well. And it was this big thing. And we're sort of just going, okay, maybe we got it wrong.
Yeah.
But underlying, we're like, how have we got this wrong when we have done all the numbers, we've opened all the doors? Okay, maybe we just didn't push hard enough. Okay, fast forward years later, the money's gone, the business is gone, the idea's gone, it didn't work.
Yeah.
Now, the beauty of trying shit in any economy, industry, or business is you get to bank the lessons. Yet sometimes you might not push hard enough and not get enough data and then make the wrong conclusions from the data. But when you have pushed things to the nth degree and go, you know what, I've collected enough data to know that I don't need to be doing this or I should be doing this, you can then teach people those lessons. Now, then the beauty with accounting that we often don't talk about in the industry is that then we get to leverage all of our amazing clients. So you get exposure through your accounting profession to people who aren't doing so well, people who are making a lot of money, people who aren't making any money, people who have good mindsets, people who have bad mindsets, and you get to look under the hood of all of this stuff, and you get to have phone calls with them too. Hey, how come that's what? Why are you doing that way? Hey, have you tried this? And you get to learn from all of your clients, and then you get to go to your other clients and be like, hey, here's a couple of suggestions I think could work well for you.
Despite us saying comparison is the thief of joy, it's always fascinating when you say to a business owner, oh, hey, how you're going compared to other businesses?
Yes.
And they just light up and they're just like, oh, but it just gives them that comfort and confidence that they're actually going okay. Because they've got no idea. They're only looking at their P&L and balance sheet. And I had it recently sitting in a meeting with a client and I said, hey, look, from what I can see with your overhead structure, this is like really good. You're doing exceptionally well. And the look on their face and the smile was just like, oh, wow, I never knew that before. And that just made them feel like the bee's knees.
Yeah, it's cool. I was talking to a client recently and they were talking about how much money they need set aside. And I'm like, well, you don't really need much because you don't have many outgoings and whatnot. And they're like, but what does the average business owner have tucked away for a rainy day? I'm like, sweet. I'm like, you have about 100 times more than most people. Like, chill. You've got too much. We need to unpack. Why do you have so much? Why are we so conservative? What could we be doing with that? Where could we be deploying it? So we get to have all those fun conversations because we get to see so much information. The next piece, mate, we've been doing a lot of workshops over the last 24 months. So around business planning, cash flow planning, even knowing yourself, knowing your customer, and trying to find little things that business owners are struggling with and turn it into a workshop format so that if people aren't paying, the larger sums to be working with us one-on-one, they can still get access to some of this information. Now, we do a lot of stuff for free, but we also then do paid workshops where people then commit and then they hopefully take the lessons more seriously, and we bring people into those. We run them ourselves, and we're teaching people about things that we know that if they learn these concepts and implement them into their business, they can go further. And it might be increasing your sales, understanding your money in your own personal situation. And those have been really, really popular. And I think it's given people a bit of a taste for some of the work that we do. And we get to share some of the stories that we have from clients that we're working with. And they're between $100 to $200. So it's designed to weed out the people who aren't going to show up, are going to sign up, and they're not actually consume the information. They're still going to, hey, I can't access the replay, and 17 weeks later, the free replay or whatever. So it's designed to weed out some of that and get the people who actually really want to take action. It's been working really well and giving people a bit of a taste of nextAdvisory.
Yeah, it's a great little intro. If you're wondering what it's like to work with us and you've gone, right, you've consumed content online, either via Instagram or Facebook or email outs, or you're a hardened podcast listener and you go, right, actually, I want to take this to the next level, have a look at some of the workshops that we do. Yeah. There's a back catalogue of replays that you can dive into, or stay tuned for the next release of topics that are coming up, because there's always something that we're talking about.
And you've been a busy boy recently as well, especially over the last probably 36 months maybe, with people who are looking to buy a business, sell a business, understand the value of their business, and you've been diving in and helping those people solve those problems.
Oh, mate, has it what? Unbelievable. And particularly, I don't know who's turned the light switch on at the beginning of this year, but the amount of people that are getting in contact with us about wanting to buy a business is just blowing me away. But it's something that we enjoy doing in terms of stepping potential business owners through the process, going like, what are the steps that you need to be aware of? What's the process? And ultimately getting to the end outcome of you being a business owner and then helping you through that journey. And that process of buying the business would ultimately go, we could potentially help you with a business valuation, whether we are helping with due diligence, whether there's a cash flow forecast that's needed for the bank. There's a whole heap of different things that can come through them. We've done plenty of podcasts all about it, but there's been plenty of inquiry. And we love helping business owners wanting to look at buying a business.
Yeah. There's those two really good pods. One's a Q&A on buying a business, and the other is, so you think you want to buy a business. If you just search buying under the podcast catalog, you should find both of those. But those have been really helpful for people.
It's at the top of YouTube, you type in buying, and then
they could do. They might pop up. We'll definitely be popping up more. Yep. We also have a free Skool group, Skool. It's the nextAdvisory Business Basics. There's about 400 business owners in there as at the end of March 2025. So that's a way for people, again, to be able to access some of the things that we're talking about and get in touch with us or ask a question or contribute to some of the things that we then turn into these podcasts. We've just asked recently, what's something you're struggling with in your business at the moment? Phil and I review that and go, okay, maybe we need to do more content about that. Maybe we need to be doing a workshop about that. Maybe we need to be sending that person a resource, because we're trying to move people down their path on their own business journey. And if we don't know what's going on for people, then we can't really do that. So we need ways to be able to communicate with business owners that aren't just our clients to go, okay, what's happening out there in the market? And that shapes some of the work that we do. So if you want to find that, then search Skool, Skool, nextAdvisory Business Basics Group, and you should find that. If you can't find it, just drop us a line on Instagram, where we also punch out a shit ton of content. We've got about 8,000 followers on there, I believe. Wow. So we're doing our bit, mate. I think we're doing our bit.
And all of the stuff like that, Skool group, the podcast, Instagram, the stack load of resources, and it's all free.
Yeah. Yep.
All free. So there's just so much there that business owners can dive into. I guess the other things that are springing in my mind in terms of that business advisory piece, where we help clients, and it doesn't necessarily need to be tied to either some form of business planning or strategy work, whether it's short or longer term, or tied to doing a business purchase. But we do a lot of cash flow forecasting and planning for clients, and that can take a number of different formats, whether it's just a business valuation on its own. Ultimately, if a business owner's in a position and are faced with a challenge, or there's something that they want to unpack in their business, typically we can help them.
Yeah.
Because it's driven by the numbers. let's get in and dive into the data. We can understand the data, and like Luke was saying before around our values, translate. We can unpack that and tell you what it means, and then go, well, if this is what it means, this importantly is the next step. This is what you need to do to fix it, and then come up with a plan and go, right, well, this is what you need to work through to help you fix whatever it is that's going wrong in your business.
Yeah, occasionally as well, we'll do what we call a Know Your Numbers session.
Yeah.
So that's basically one-on-one where we jump into the client's financial information, and we give them some pre-work to do as well. And we're trying to teach them how to better understand their financial information into the future. Show them where the blockages are, show them what the levers are, show them what they might be struggling with and how they can fix that, how they need to be thinking about tax, thinking about cash flow planning, all of these sorts of things that you don't learn when you start a business, because you're probably focused on doing the thing that you love, and that's building or selling and creating. And we're going, okay, let's give you some of these baseline financial fundamentals that you shall need in your business at some stage. So we do those with business owners. And I think the final piece, mate, would be that we do have an ability to do a one-off consult with us. It's around the $500 mark plus GST, and we'll spend time on the phone unpacking what's going on for somebody and actually getting them to, okay, here's your next steps and what you need to do from here. And people use that to basically sense check something that they may have coming up, or they might be going round and round in their head of something in their business, and they go, you know what, I've seen you guys, I like you, I trust you, I don't use you for my accounting, or I just need a one-off hand. How would you guys approach this? And here you go. And if people don't get any value out of that call, we refund them the money, and we haven't had to do that.
Spot on, mate.
I can't say that we haven't refunded anyone a workshop ticket, because I've had to do one.
Yeah, yes.
Now, I used to be able to say we've never refunded a workshop attendee, but I can't say that anymore. And I need to be very ethical, as you know, Phil.
Yes.
And stick to my
You're
genuine,
a trailblazer.
Yeah. And I can't say that anymore. So we normally don't have to refund any workshop attendees, but the one that we did, it was because there were too many F-bombs.
Yeah, and I think if you put that into context, if we just dive into that and unpack it, there's been how many hundreds of people attend?
Oh, yeah. I don't even know
content?
now. Yeah.
And there's been one refund. So as a percentage,
Yeah.
it's an absolute outlier. So, I mean, we could say for materiality, it's still a zero, so no refunds. But that's not ethical, and we've got to be ethical.
Yeah, I'll start saying less than 1% of our workshop attendees ask for a refund. Yeah.
The final thing that I'd add in there would be, if you've listened to this and got to the end, well done, thanks. But if you have got a current accountant and you think, yep, they're doing a great job, and you don't want to bring your accounting to us, we can help you with any of the stuff that we've spoken about without needing to be your accountant.
Yeah.
So whether it's the business planning, the know your numbers, business valuation, cash flow forecasting, any of that kind of stuff, we don't need to be your accountant and doing your year-end accounts and GST returns and all that other stuff. We can do it just sitting to the side, adding the value, giving the advice that you're looking for, and you carry on with the current relationship you've got.
More than happy to help. We're here for you if you need us. Otherwise, feel free to stick to the free content that we put out. I'm sure we'll get you eventually. Because it's been working. You know, we've built, going back to what you're saying before about building a business, we've built a fee base that's over $1 million a year, well over that now. That was our goal when we started. Like, imagine if we get to $1 million worth of fees in 5 years. And it took us longer than 5 years, I believe.
Yeah, I think it did.
Yeah, and we kept a couple of years of COVID in there as well. We didn't take any subsidy cash or anything like that. We did it for the hard way and removed ourselves from some of the government funding that was out there that other people were getting into, because we could just see, what would we say? It's not feeding the chooks, but probably the scramble that was happening, and it was probably degrading some of the advice that actually the quality people could provide. But anyway, that's an aside. So yeah, we're out here building as well, and we're always looking for people who are like-minded and need a hand, so feel free to reach out to us.
Spot on. You want to get in touch, lnp@nextadvisory.nz. We'd love to support you.